Okay, we are continuing our tutorial on the adjustments within Photoshop CS5 and in particular for photographers. Let's look at this next one, black and white. This is a really nice feature. With a click of a button, it's black and white, but for me it doesn't look like the best color. What we have though are sliders that allow us to modify that. The skin tones are really seen within the reds and the yellows, so I like to work with those first. Bring that up and down. It shows you where we're at, and so this is really just kind of an eyeball thing. Find out where you want things, where it looks good. I'll show you the greens here. The greens are adjusting in the background, but it's really not touching her skin that much. I like those bright spots. The cyans, there's really nothing in there. The blues, it's showing in her dress, but when I lower it, it's showing a little bit more detail. And the same thing a little bit in magenta. So that's kind of nice, but we need a little bit more contrast, so in that case I would make another layer with curves and just bring in some punch. Make an S curve, and so there's where we started with the automatic black and white, and there's where we finished. That's pretty good for just a couple of minutes of work. Okay, the rest of the adjustments are pretty much going to be really touchy color adjustments that you have to play with to figure out. Color balance, you can work in the mid-tone, shadow, or highlights, and you can just see what each slider does. It's going to change things, and it can be really helpful if say your white balance was off a little bit. It gives you a little bit to manipulate and try to get it right, but the changes happen so fast, and there's 3 different channels going, it can be really difficult to get it perfect, so it just takes a lot of playing. One that is a little bit easier is a photo filter, and what this does is it has a list of filters that would act like you had a filter lens or filter over the lens of your camera. It just does what those lenses would do, but it gives you the freedom to manipulate it within Photoshop. So there's lots of options there. Channel mixer, again, this is you're working with the red channel and you're making modifications to the red within that, and you can do the same with green and blue, and you can come up with really funky stuff. That's not really the intention. The intention is minor tweaks, so you have to be really careful and really sensitive with that. Posterize, that's just a freaky one. It can be some art for some people, so that was pretty simple. It's there if you want it. And selective color, it's another adjustment where this one is a little bit slower in the changes, so you can tweak it a little bit easier and has more options to change the yellows and such.